All right, guys, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to use validation and disqualification to keep your pipeline clean, because 20 to 40% of your pipeline is likely pollution. And when I say pollution, I mean spam leads, invalid phone numbers, invalid email addresses, personal emails, which if you're selling a B2B offer, this can be an issue, or just people that have low credit score, low income, and just aren't very qualified. And this is systematic contamination that has a very negative downstream impact on your business. And so this is the obvious waste. You have wasted ad spend. This says $900 to $3,000 a month on leads who will never convert. For some of you, it's a lot more than that. Wasted setter and closer time, of course, and then team morale. If your setters and closers are trying to follow up and work leads that don't even exist, of course, they're going to lose confidence and they're not going to reach their own goals, which is going to force them to try to find a new offer, which is going to give you a high turnover rate in your company, and you're going to have to spend more time and money hiring new setters and closers, which is extremely expensive and time consuming. This is the cascade of consequences. So if you're generating a bunch of fake emails, bots, invalid phone numbers, your calendar is going to be full of unqualified leads. Of course, if you don't have real leads, you're going to miss your revenue targets, most likely. You're also going to have a bloated team. You're going to have 5 or 6 closers when in reality, you only need 3 or 4 because half of your leads, for example, may be invalid or fake. You, of course, have bad data to make your decisions off of, because let's say you have 30% of your leads who are either invalid or fake, for example. Of course, all of those leads are going to no-show, for example. So your no-show rate is going to be inflated. And also your pixel is going to be trained on bad data as well. So there's kind of 2 points here. Naturally, you're going to spend more money trying to solve this issue, but this is only going to repeat the cycle. So there's a few things we're going to do very quickly inside of iClose to fix this. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to head over to your event, and we're going to simply turn on 2 key features here. So when you first create your event, you should see this screen here, and we are going to simply turn on phone and email validation. So what this is going to do is it's going to in real time validate the phone numbers and email addresses to ensure that anybody that comes into your funnel, you have a valid phone number and email address to follow up with. Okay, that's literally all you have to do. We can just hit save and continue. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to invitee questions, and we're going to make sure that we have this box here checked. So this is only if you're selling a B2B offer. That's the sort of caveat here. If you're not selling B2B, if you are working in the B2B space selling to consumers, then I wouldn't necessarily recommend turning this on. If you are selling B2B though, then you do absolutely want to at least test and consider only capturing business email addresses. Okay, so I'm going to leave this turned on for this offer. So now we have phone and emails being validated, and we have only business email addresses being allowed. Okay, so super powerful. Now what we want to do is we want to set up some additional disqualification rules. So if I go over to disqualification, let me hit save changes. What I can do here, let me delete this so I can start fresh with you guys here. So I'm going to go back to the disqualification. I'm going to add a new rule here, and there's a few things we can do. So we can disqualify based off of phone number country code. So let's say I only want to sell in the US. I can select all, and then I can unselect US and Canada. And what that's going to do is it's only going to allow people in the US or Canada or with that phone number country code to book. Every other phone number country code is going to be disqualified. So that's one thing we can do. We can also disqualify based off of time zone, which is essentially very similar to the phone number country code. But let's say I only want to work with people who are in a US based time zone. I can actually select all and then unselect this one. And now all time zones outside of the US and Canada are going to be disqualified. Now, I can also disqualify based off of invitee questions. So I have one question here. What is your current monthly income? And we have 3 different answers, 5K, 10K, or 50K. And let's say I want to disqualify anybody that answers 5K. Boom, just like that. I can disqualify based off of this custom invitee question. And so just to show you, let's go ahead and just save changes. So you go to invitee questions, add new question. In order to use this for disqualification, it needs to either be a single select or multiple select. Boom. And just like that, you type in your question, what is your monthly revenue, or what is your current income, whatever you want. What type of agency do you run? What type of business do you run? You can disqualify based off of anything that you want using these custom invitee questions, okay? And so we go back over to disqualification, and just to show you a few more things in here, you can, of course, stack these conditions. So let's say I want to disqualify based off of this custom invitee question, but I also want to disqualify based off of the phone number country code. I can select all, unselect US and Canada, and I also want to disqualify based off of, let's say, time zone, and I'll select all and then unselect US and Canada. Boom, just like that, I can save changes and they will all be disqualified. Now, there's another thing we can do, and we go to data intelligence. We can also turn on the credit score and debt to income ratio. So this is if you are a US based business and you are selling to US based leads, you can qualify based off of credit score and debt to income ratio. So if you open this up, you can see all the different insights that are collected for each one of these different options here. So if I want to collect their estimated income insights to have an idea as to what their estimated income is, I can check this box here, hit configure and save. I can go back to save changes and then go back to disqualification. And then I can add a new condition based off of credit score. And so let's say I want to disqualify based off of their credit score being very bad. I can boom, just like that. All of these leads are going to be disqualified. Now, something that's important to note is that this is using the AND function. So this means that all 4 of these need to be true in order for the lead to be disqualified, okay? If I want to change this, I can change this to OR, and that just means that any single one of these need to be true in order for the lead to be disqualified. So by using OR, this is a much more strict disqualification rule. It means that if a lead just meets any one of these, then boom, we don't want them booking on our calendar, okay? Now, here's something that I recommend all of you guys to do, and that is redirecting to a URL after disqualification. Because if somebody's disqualified, they're simply going to land on the schedule and it's just going to say there's no times available for this month, okay? Now, ideally, what you should be doing based off of your disqualification rules, you should be redirecting them to potentially a different offer. So let's say your main offer is like 5K, and you know that if somebody says, their current monthly income is 5K, or they're in a different country, or their credit score is very bad, that they're not going to be a good fit for your main offer. Well, they might be a good offer or a good fit for your lower ticket offer. Let's say you have a $297 course, for example, or maybe you have a $50 a month school community. You can just redirect them to that landing page here, okay? Another thing you can do is you can actually create a discovery call event, and then you can copy the link to that event and you can paste that in here, and that gives your setter an opportunity to verify their situation and whether or not they would be a good fit for your higher ticket offer. So perhaps you want to route them to a discovery call event instead. So that's super important. I recommend you guys redirecting pretty much 100% of the time. And the main reason why you want to set up this disqualification, of course, outside of course, saving time and not wasting your closer or your setter's time, but it's also to ensure that your pixel is not going to be trained on any of these people, okay? So your pixel is no longer going to be trained on people with very bad credit score. It's no longer going to be trained on finding people with different country code phone numbers or different time zones or monthly income under 5K, right? And so boom, just like that, we can save changes, and now we have a fully protected calendar, okay? So I gotta uncheck that to save. So now we have all of the disqualification set up, we have all of the validation turned on, and we are also collecting business email address only. So Take the time to set this up. It will literally take 5 minutes to set all of this up. But by doing so, your calendar is going to be fully protected. Every single lead that enters your pipeline is going to be a valid, qualified lead from this point forward. With that, I'll see you guys in the next video.